Hi guys, today I'm going to look at Princess Diana and I'm just going to check on her parts as well as how Shan did in typing her. So I watched Shan's live and it sounds like Shan got something like, but it sounds like she either got this or here I'll just put this or this. I'm just gonna say what type I'm seeing for Princess Diana, okay? That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing NITE, blast play, sleep consume.
It's pretty quick, right?
So I think Shan is reading into Princess Diana. I'm guessing Shan probably got visual because she seems to be projecting onto Diana.
Or may not be that she can communicate after she wants to do some sleep processing. So it's just like, what do they not have last? It doesn't seem like she has sleep last. I would say that. That's the first thing you could say. It doesn't seem to have sleep last, right? And then she communicates about not being able to get her words out. There's several things that could be happening there, right? Want to do some different hypotheticals? Yeah, very good. She's
Yeah, maybe she's consumed last. There's a hypothetical. She has nothing to talk about because she never does any consume.
not she's not definitely not at my left. There you go. That's very good. Yes, is she taking blast lessons? That's
Yeah,
what it
because
seems
she's
like, right?
Savior
Her
Blast.
coach seems to not have blast last, you could put it that way, right? Because he's communicating to her how to share her known information, and she seems to be struggling to be able to share her known information, right?
No,
She's saying,
she's not. She's not struggling to share her known information. That's what she's doing in a Savior state.
can't get the words out. That could be one of several things. That could be that possibly her blast is feminine. That's a very difficult thing for those that even have savior blast. If their blast is feminine, to be able to get the words out, so they're reaching for it first. And that's going to just be something where you could say, what is the
Okay, so sometimes people, because of their conditions, are not like another person of the same type because they are stuck, they are trapped in a different condition. So Dave was able to really sharpen his blast. Why? Well, for one thing, he had a channel where he flew airplanes for years, RC airplanes, and he commentated over it. And he got hundreds of thousands of views, if not millions. So he was able to sharpen his blast. And he also had something to talk about in the consume. Princess Diana, the Princess of Wales.
complete opposite. Ed Milet is a perfect example of a complete opposite of this, where you'd have somebody who is able to access the masculine blast constantly, consistently.
So you're probably thinking, how absurd is it that I got blast play? What Diana is doing is she's going out on stage and she's blasting at people in front of other people and she's learning through pingback. That's blast play. Now, she is a woman, okay? And she's in the spotlight all the time. So it's like she can never get access to her introverted functions. And those are actually her demons. So I know she comes off like this super mopey introvert, but you've got to be more considerate. Is it possible that her conditions are basically making her look like the opposite of what her real type is? She threw herself down the stairs out of protest while she was pregnant. If you go look at her Wikipedia, that's something Princess Diana did. Why did she do that? Because she felt trapped and like she couldn't do her saviors. So when we can't do our saviors, we become unhappy. When we're doing our saviors and we're winning at our saviors, it's not just doing them, we also have to be winning at them. Then you'll see people be really, really happy. When you're not winning at your own saviors, that tends to be the recipe for extreme unhappiness, especially when it goes on for years and years and years and years. So why would a Blast Lass ISFP think that her way out ought to be giving speeches? That's not her savior if she's Blast Lass. What, you think her best way out of her predicament is to give speeches? I wholeheartedly disagree. That means she wants to blast in the savior state. That's the realization of her purpose as a blaster. So when she goes up on stage, she's going, all right, now I'm in my element. But guess what? She's consumed last. She's energy dominant. So that's really scary. She's like, wait, I'm way over my head. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm a complete fraud. Everyone else knows more than me, so what right do I have to be talking to them if everyone has a greater consume pile than I do? Why? Because I'm a princess locked in a tower. I don't have a consume pile. And keep in mind, she looks like a consume last INTJ. I'm just saying.
And she's giggly. You know, why is she giggle? So supposed to be taking this seriously. Take this seriously, Diana. And she starts giggling because she's having trouble getting her tongue around the words. This is the same thing here. Why is she having trouble getting her tongue around the words? You know, why so difficult to talk? It does feel like a doubling down amount of having a difficulty to talk, right? And the guy.
One thing you'll see about talking is that sometimes people blast. When you look at someone who's cranked all the way up on blast, what you'll notice is that the way they talk, it's like they're telling you a story. It's like they're manipulating your mind with this beautiful cadence. It can be very engrossing. A blaster will definitely draw you in. A consumer, on the other hand, will tend to, when they do speak, they are speaking from a place of their identity. So what comes out is not as polished, but that doesn't mean that the consume function doesn't have access to the human tongue. Or just because I'm talking at any given time doesn't mean that I'm blasting at any given time. There's a difference between talking and blasting. So if there's a difference between talking and blasting, what is that difference? If I talk 10 times and only 5 of those times are blast, then what's the other 5? I presume that consume is at least 2 of those other 5, or maybe all 5 of those other 5. Here's how I think it goes. I think your DI has a voice and your DE has a voice. When you talk, you speak out of one of those 2. DIs don't have that much incentive to talk and talk and talk forever because they're not trying to brainwash you. They're not trying to convince you of anything. They're just trying to win right now at who they are. So there's not that much to say if you're a consumer, unless, of course, you're trying to show people how much more you know than them in the info. Blast, you're trying to like massage someone, and you're trying to like trick them almost into doing something new. Consume, it's just your DI. There's not all these magic tricks, there's not all that. It's just your DI, but it can still talk. So if I'm talking, I might be consuming, just outwardly. And that's the problem actually with naming it consume. That means that we're always assuming that consume goes in and blast goes out. Wait a second. If it's an introverted function and an extroverted function, why would I assume that it's only single directional? Why wouldn't I assume it's bidirectional? So if it's an introverted function and an extroverted function, why would I assume that only OI can go towards DE? Why wouldn't I assume that DE can also feed into OI? And what is that? That looks like consume, but it's blast because it's DE going towards OI. It looks like an extroverted function filtering into an introverted function. I'm saying I think blast is doing that. So if you have trouble talking, it might be because you don't have any DI to talk with.
Who is possibly blast not last is telling her, be yourself. And this is a lesson that those of us that are blast last are definitely going to need to learn.
The more changes there are, the more threatened we feel.
Right, now carry on like that. Yes.
Still giggling.
Those who become ensnared in addiction are often highly sensitive.
So you got to understand, she doesn't have a good relationship with her husband. If Shan would have looked at more interviews with her husband, that would have been good. But she doesn't have a good relationship with her husband. But she also refuses to throw her husband under the bus. She refuses to say that something's wrong with him. So to me, that strikes me as double deciding. But after all, she threw herself down the stairs while she was pregnant with her husband's baby. So there's a little bit of trouble in paradise. And the question is why? Why is there so much trouble? It's because her husband doesn't see that she's actually an INTJ. Her husband wants her to be an ESFP, wants her to be an ISFP, wants her to be blast last. I think her husband, who is, I believe, what's his name? His name is Prince Charles, is that right? He wants her to be blast last. I think he's blast last. They don't seem to be a good match for some reason. I think he's probably a blast last ESTP, SCTI. Consume, sleep, play, blast. He might also be play last, so consume, sleep, blast, play. Yeah, actually that seems more like it. He seems play last. So she's just so different from him in every way that she can't actually show him who she is, and that's an NITE type. That doesn't necessarily mean that something's wrong with her identity in her DI. It means that there's a mismatch between her type and her life. That's what she means when she says no one can see me.
Creative people.
In the past 12 years,
The
Now
princess
polished.
was becoming a better speaker. Her former private secretary, Patrick Jessen, recalls, but he
Getting
wonders what it really
herself
meant for her.
out
She
there.
said to me one day, you know, Patrick, I want to make a real Churchillian speech one day.
Churchillian.
And I thought, well, that's good because
What blast last ESFP or ISFP goes up to someone and says, I want to make a Churchillian speech? So if you've ever listened to Winston Churchill, he does seem double masculine. I'm not sure what his type is. But it sounds like she's saying, yeah, I want to be this fire and brimstone speaker. That's when you say Churchill, you mean bulldozer. You mean fire and brimstone. So that doesn't sound to me like. And I'm sure Shan would pass that off as, oh, well, she's got double masculine blast because she's visual. Just like me. Just like me. Oh my God, she's so me. Oh my God, she's so me. That's not how we type here. Okay? We don't say she's so me. Because everybody tried to do that, and then we submitted to the survey 100 times, and we got it wrong 100 times when we said, oh my God, this is so me. That's not objective. This is so me is not objective.
heck, you can't do better than emulate Winston Churchill. But what's she going to say?
What are you going to say? Because you don't have any consume. What are you going to say? You don't have any expertise. What are you going to say? What are you going to talk about? You don't have anything to talk about. You're all blasted, no consume. What are you going to talk about? Have you taken in anything that you can talk about? What are you going to say? This guy has stuff to talk about. Let's put down a hypothesis here. Everyone has two voices.
Can leave the individual gasping for breath. at
Gasping
every
for
turn.
breath.
And
Can't
there were
breathe.
people around
Okay.
her saying, you shouldn't do this. You stay right away from it. but it empowered her.
Eating disorders, whether it be anorexia
She
or
found
bulimia,
her voice.
show how an
So if Dave was on stage, he would want to just rattle, rattle, rattle. But you can't just rattle, rattle, rattle. You can't just go up there and say whatever's funny to you. You can't talk about the op code. You've got to talk about what? A bunch of facts. That's what you got to do if you're a princess. You can't just go up there and start talking about all your patterns. You got to go up there and talk about facts. That's not easy if you're consumed last, if you don't have any facts. So what does she have to do? She has to go, okay, let's talk about bulimia. What? Is this a nationwide problem? Or do you have bulimia because you have consumed last? You're not conscious of your own consume. So what happens? You binge eat. There's a hypothesis.
individual can turn the nourishment of the body into a painful attack on themselves.
Painful
It
attack
made
on
her feel
themselves.
powerful because she was saying, I know, and I'm fine. And now I'm going to tell all
What
of you
functions
what
are
it's like for
those?
the other ones.
Wow.
She spoke from the heart.
With an edge of anger. It's
Anger.
like, read my lips.
Read my
this
lips.
is what it's like.
Damn. Okay. Really good. Okay, let's go over that, and then we have one more clip at the end.
What functions are those? I agree it's FI, but is it in a savior or demon state? Why isn't Shan considering that?
But that's how you keep the balance. It's sort of like not that big of a deal to learn things and teach. That seems to be an exciting thing for the infodoms. Those of us that are energy dom, we have the ability to stop and start energy wise a lot. I could take multiple naps during the day
Very
and have
true.
no problem. One of the things that I see even from the playlasts is that when they are working, they go.
Yeah.
And when they are stopped, either
That's
on,
good.
just on like Donkey Kong, just going,
That's good.
going.
That's sleep.
The infodoms is they don't have
Yep.
the ability versus
Yep.
infodom.
Yep.
The last one that you might want to check
We
on
agree.
as well is introvert versus extrovert. So if you figured out that she's energy dumb, is she consume last?
Well, she clearly looks
I mean,
like
I know
an
it's really
introvert.
obvious at this point, but is she consume last?
Yes.
Or is she blast last?
No.
Those is another things that you could figure out as well. So once you have energy dumb, you're like, she seems to be pretty giggly, not taking the information seriously. So that's how we're probably seeing the infodom there, right? She's just not taking this information
Yes,
seriously.
yes,
Just
yes,
can't stop being
yes.
silly and playful.
Yes,
right?
yes,
That's a pretty good one.
yes.
Okay, now that we know that, is she
Yes.
blast last or consume last? That's
Right.
pretty easy,
Let's-
right? At this point, it should be pretty easy.
Why? Why? When did you prove that? Let's go back and look at the facts. All those facts that you're placing down. I'm still not convinced. I've been here a long time.
Painful attack on themselves. Those of you that are following along with op, you know what function that is. You know what function
Yeah,
that is.
it's
Painful
FI
attack
in a demon state.
on themselves.
Yeah.
What function is that? All right, let's go on to the next.
Go watch any other video of Princess Diana. The first thing you'll see is DE. She'll say, I don't know myself. I don't know who I am. I don't have an identity, and my identity's disappearing. And my identity, I'm not winning at identity. But I've got my tribe. I've got my little Harry, and I've got my little Prince George, and I've got my tribe, and my tribe loves me. And she'll say, when she was younger, if someone got mad at her, she would say, we don't like that. She didn't say, I don't like that. She would say, we don't like that. If you listen to her talk about how she got a depression diagnosis, it's all patterns. Everything she says is a pattern. Everything she says is an OI pattern. Everything. It's all patterns. Except when she's on stage. Because that's when you have to consume. Show off that you have consumed. There's a reason why the President of the United States isn't an INTJ. There's a reason why Andrew Yang didn't win.
She was on the receiving end of a whispering campaign in which everything from her competence as a princess to her suitability as a mother and her,
She
indeed, her very sanity were
got
being questioned.
backed into
She
a
was Faced with
corner.
a choice
What
of
does
either
that mean?
turning a deaf ear to what was being said about her, to
Fight or
falling
flight.
in with the plans of people who wanted to see her excluded, marginalized, or doing something about it.
Whenever she felt threatened, Diana had always followed the same idea. She believed that if only people could hear her real story,
If
she would always have their
only
support.
She was in a
they
corner, and
could
she felt it, and she
hear
wanted to explode.
my
Later,
story.
there were long
That's a narrator saying that. Did she ever say that?
nights, also in secret, improving her storytelling skills.
Then
With
they
her
would
speech
know
coach,
me.
Peter Settling.
Yeah, because they would know that I'm a blaster.
Me. Know me.
In 1995, Diana felt her back against the wall once more. And on the
Back
5th of
against
November,
the wall.
one Friday,
True.
she prepared to tell her story again.
Do you really believe that a campaign was being waged against you?
Yes, I did, absolutely.
Yes, I fucking did.
Why?
I was a separated wife of the Prince of Wales. I was a problem, full stop. Never happened before. What do we do with her?
What do we do with her?
Can't we back her off to somewhere quietly rather than campaign against her?
She won't go quietly. That's the problem.
She
I'll fight till the end.
won't
Because I
go
believe that I have a role to
quietly.
fulfill.
Damn, sis.
And I've got 2 children to bring up.
There it is.
Listen to yourself.
It was not only what Diana said on Panorama that surprised people, but the way she said it. That was the real revelation.
She chose to fight back in some pretty
Right.
unconventional ways. She actually was an extraordinarily
Yes,
strong
queen.
person. The people who criticized her always underestimated her. And not least, they underestimated her anger. She was a
Underestimated
proud aristocratic woman who had been very badly treated.
You
her
think
anger.
you'll ever be queen?
You don't need to be
No, I
using
don't.
all caps here. We're not projecting. This is not totally you.
Why do you think that?
Roll is
I'd like to be
serious. Very good,
the queen
Abby.
of people's hearts
Roll
in people's hearts.
is serious.
But I don't see myself being queen of this country.
Very good. Okay. Woo! That was for Crasse. Okay, that was a good one. That one gets me heated up. I'm so excited about all that. Okay, let me go to the bottom here. I'm going to quickly go over these, and then we're going to go meet you over into the membership. Actually, before I do this, what we have coming next is this class on Monday night at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And then also I have a live show on October 27th. That's 12 p.m. Pacific time. The Facebook group voted for Quadras. I'm sorry, Dante. I was voting for the other one too. What was it? Serial killers and depression and hero's journey. We could do that one next time, maybe. We could split those up. But Quadras was on everybody's mind for some reason.
If y'all want to know why Quadras is on everybody's minds, it's because right now the Gamma Quadra is hogging the system.
And so October 27th, that is when that one. Yeah, we had the live. You're so excited. Good, me too. I took a month off because last month was a bitch. I'll just put it that way. There's my truth.
Yeah, for me too. I didn't have a great month either.